I didn't just dream of becoming a doctor. I wanted to have my own medical practice. I just thought, what would it be like when my patients would come in and they would say, "Thank you, Dr. Jones," or something like that. And that wasn't because I have some major big head to where I think that I can solve every problem or anything, but it was just because I felt like I would actually listen to them. I wanted to hear them out and understand them and actually try to solve their problem. I also love to draw and design and all of those things. When I was around 9, I drew Winnie the Pooh and I entered into a newspaper kind of contest for kids. I wish I could find that newspaper article, but I entered it in and it was for a chance to win $50,000. And of course, I did not win. Before I even understood what entrepreneurship or business or branding or anything was, I knew subconsciously that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I grew up very shy, very introverted, very much a people pleaser. I just didn't want people to be mad at me. It just felt like I had to do what everyone said, no matter if it was at the expense of my own mental health and well-being. It was just like, don't question it or don't backtalk, that kind of thing. So I didn't. I just went along with it, even though I hated it. People used to call me the secretary in my family because they knew that they could bring all of their problems and their troubles to me. Their printer is not working. They need help with their computer. They need tech support. I was literally getting phone calls like, "I need tech support," and that would be the messages left on my voicemail. And it would never be, "Hello, how are you? Are you okay?" It was, "Hey, Mika, can you?" That was my name. And barely people would even say hi. And so it got to the point where my mental, my physical, my emotional well-being was just overrun with people pleasing and allowing people to control my life and my narrative. And it got so bad to the point where I was just really resentful and miserable pretty much every day. Finally, at the age of 19, I decided to leave home and to really isolate myself. And I feel like in that moment, it was necessary. Although I don't recommend total isolation, but in that moment, especially as a major people pleaser, it just felt like I had no choice. I went on to be a medical assistant and I went on to work at an urgent care. So that was cool. But I would find myself in the middle of class drawing. And I went on from drawing like Winnie the Pooh characters when I was a kid to then drawing shoes for some odd reason. And I have absolutely no clue why. If anybody that knows me knows, I used to kick my shoes off everywhere I went. I used to hate wearing shoes. And I even remember when I was in my aunt's car, who knows where we were going, probably to the racetrack or something like that. My aunt was letting me and my sister out. I had my sandal halfway buckled and then I stepped out of the car and the door frame caught my foot and there I go. I face planted right onto the ground, bust my lip, and I had to walk around with a busted big lip for who knows how long, but I remember that and it was embarrassing. So why was I drawing shoes? I have absolutely no idea. I genuinely thought for some odd reason that I would go on to be a shoe designer, but then I started thinking as I got 15, 16 years old, I'm like, you don't have any money to probably get these shoes manufactured. So what else can you do instead? And then I started thinking, well, if I can draw shoes, I can probably draw clothes. I can easily get fabric because there's fabric stores. I can go thrifting, take it apart, put it back together. I could do things like that. That would be easier than saying that I'm going to be a shoe designer. I went on to be a fashion designer, even though I struggled to even call myself a fashion designer at the time. I believed that this was my thing. This is what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And nobody could tell me anything. When people would tell me to calm down and take your time, but then other people are like, what are you doing every day? And I'm like, I'm making stuff, but things aren't turning out the way that I want them to. I'm overthinking the designs. I am drawing and sketching and going to fabric stores, spending hundreds of dollars that I do not have. But we won't talk about that. I truly believed it in my heart that I was going to be a fashion designer, which is why I put my all into it. I was constantly telling people, if I don't have fashion, then I don't have anything else. So this has to work. And I was staying up until 5 and 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, working on these patterns, trying to get the sizing and everything right. I was just trying to be so perfect that I started to fall into the perfectionism trap, which I had never really truly experienced before. I look back on all the things I used to draw on all of my shoes. It was colorful. It was the most weirdest designs at the time. People were like, oh, wow, that's different. That's new. That's interesting. And all of a sudden now I'm critiquing everything I do. Nothing is good enough. Nothing is right. If one thing is a quarter inch out of place, then I'm like, that's not right. Gotta scrap it. Gotta do it over again. It just came out of nowhere. It just hit me like a ton of bricks, feeling like I wasn't good enough and that I couldn't do it and that something was wrong with me. And why is nothing ever turning out right? Why isn't this pattern working? It kept me stuck. It kept me stagnant. It kept me on this hamster wheel of doing it over and over again and trying and feeling like I was getting nowhere. I was jumping from one business to the next business. I had a lip gloss business. I had a stationery business, painting real canvases and art prints. I've built Etsy shops. I've built Squarespace websites. I have built Shopify websites. You name it, I've probably done it. Nothing felt like me. Everything just felt off. Everything felt like it was almost there, but it wasn't quite there. It was just something about it that just didn't sit right with me. And I knew it and I could feel it throughout each and everything that I tried. But I kept jumping from thing to thing because I'm like, well, it has to be the business. I swear I'm not trying to be hard on myself and I'm not trying to blame myself for the things that I didn't know at the time. It wasn't because I couldn't get the ratios of the lip gloss oils and everything right. It wasn't because I couldn't get my printer to print right for my stationery business. What I realized is that I was probably having a major identity crisis because I was people pleasing so much, because I didn't know myself, because I was constantly asking everybody else for their opinion of me, for their validation, for them to critique my business ideas. I couldn't find any parts of me within these brands or these businesses or these ideas that I was creating. I don't know if you guys have seen Project Runway, but Tim Gunn, one of his catchphrases that he says, he's like, that's kind of matronly if he feels like an outfit looks a little bit older or mature, more mature than what the designer would probably normally do. I have friends and family or whatever you want to call them making jokes about it and saying, oh, that's so matronly. And it would really hurt my feelings because I would take those things to heart. This was my baby. This was my work. This was my everything. Or at least that's what I felt at the time. And it just felt like people were not taking it as seriously as I was, and they were making fun of it. It really put me into a spiral of, well, am I not good enough at this? How is everything I'm making so matronly to everybody else? And so I took those things to heart, truly. It really made me just feel like people were saying that I wasn't good enough, that my ideas weren't good enough, and that the things that I was making wasn't good enough. It just took me down the deepest, darkest hole of depression that I could have possibly been in. I'm not blaming anybody for this. I'm just aware and acknowledging how it all went. Ever since I was little, I was just feeling like people were telling me that I wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to be me, to Mika Marie Jones. And it was the way that people would do it too. They wouldn't necessarily come out and tell me that I wasn't good enough. I would get questions like, why do you talk like that? And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Because people would, one, make fun of my voice, but then two, they're also basically saying, you talk white, you're not black enough. And that's what they were asking me. And then before I could really ask them, well, what do you mean? Or what are you talking about? Somebody in my family would answer the question for me and say, well, she's from the suburbs. Even though it was literally once you step across the street, then you're in the suburbs, which I get it. Everybody always does the whole Chicago versus suburb thing. I get it. But I was born in Chicago. So I'm going to just say that. And I've lived in the suburbs. But anywho, it felt like people were telling me that I wasn't good enough and that I wasn't Black enough. That's what I internalized it as. And then I took that to heart. And I feel like it took me so long to grow out of it, literally when I'm 30 years old and then having, that's not even a midlife crisis. What is that? The 30-year-old crisis. And then I'm like, I don't even feel like I know myself either. Who am I? In 2020, during the whole, can I say COVID now? I was really trying to figure myself out. And the only way that I truly could do this was to put my fashion business on hold. And after years of just being so down on myself, convincing myself that I wasn't good enough, convincing myself that I didn't know what I was doing, convincing myself that even if I did make it, I wouldn't be able to sustain it anyway. There's going to be more than I can handle. I was just telling myself all of these things that were keeping me stuck and keeping me stagnant, keeping me from achieving the things that I truly wanted to achieve, even though I still didn't really have a sense on what I even wanted to achieve. I was laying on my couch one day and I was just having a fit, literally losing it and just totally boo-hoo crying snot bubbles. It was so bad and I can laugh about it now, but it was not good. And let's just say I'm happy to be here because that day was not a good day. It really took all of those things to really bring me to that moment of hitting rock bottom. And I finally enrolled in therapy. There was a month or two in between while I was waiting to actually get into therapy. I decided to take up journaling and meditating and just manifesting my dream life. I knew that I wanted to move and I wanted to move into some place that I genuinely love, a place where I can actually unpack, hang my clothes in the closet and actually hang them up and not keep them in totes forever. One that I can decorate and organize and just feel safe and secure. I knew that that's what I wanted. I had to stop thinking of where I currently was and where I wanted to be. Where do I want to go? I may not be able to have that thing right now, but eventually I'll be able to get there. First, I gotta allow myself to say, you can have those things if you want those things. It may take you a minute to get there, but that's okay. I will do virtual tours of apartments and it will genuinely make me feel like I was in the room. I can literally close my eyes and feel myself there right now. I would write as if I already had the thing. I would say things like it was a really good day to sit and journal out there on the balcony and just feeling the breeze and everything, even though I don't have a balcony right now, but that's the dream apartment that I want. I wanted to have a balcony. But it was just things like that, scripting out things as if I already had them right now, so allowing myself to dream bigger than I've ever dreamed before. It was those things that really opened my eyes to the possibilities of where I can get to. And again, it may take me a minute to get there, but I'm willing to give myself the opportunity to get there. All of this just really helped me to finally start accepting myself as I am and who I want to be in the future. I wanted to do YouTube, but I kept stopping myself because I was still trying to convince myself that I wasn't good enough and that my voice wasn't good enough and that I didn't belong on YouTube. And all the things that I learned about branding and business and everything by the middle to end of 2023 really just helped me to finally take a step back and to finally understand myself and who I genuinely am, who I truly want to be, all the things that I want to do, the things that make me who I am, the things that make me unique. I'm not afraid to share those parts of me and my story now because this can genuinely help somebody else. It really took the pressure off of me from focusing on all the things that I felt like I wasn't good or good enough at. How can I use my story, my voice, my unique perspective and everything that I've been through, all the things that I have learned how to do, from journaling to meditating to manifesting my reality in business and branding? How do I finally take all of those things and then turn this into a business and turn this into a brand, something that I genuinely want to do and wake up to every single day, something that I genuinely want to share with the world? And it really just helped me take a step back and see you have more to offer than you think you have. You don't have to do all the things that everybody else is telling you to do. You don't need all the things you think that you need. You need the things that you have right now, the skills, the expertise, the talents, the gifts, everything that you have right now is enough. And that's all that you need. And all the trends and trendy things that people are telling you that you have to do, you don't have to do those things. I want to help people find themselves, understand what their uniqueness is, what they have to offer right here, right now. I want to help small business owners and entrepreneurs that are just starting out find themselves, to understand themselves on a deeper level. I just want to help somebody else see the possibilities and the limitless things that they are capable of building right now. If you've convinced yourself that you can't get on YouTube, look at me. I tried this 3 different channels ago, and here I am today actually doing it. I might not have as many videos as everybody else does, but I'm doing it and I'm proud of myself. And I've been at this for 3 years now, and I'm loving every second of it. And I don't even care if I was getting paid for it. That's how much I enjoy doing this right now. And that's what I genuinely want to help other people achieve and feel about their social media, their website, their brand, or their business. I genuinely just want people to feel like creatively fulfilled. They feel motivated. They feel confident. And they understand too that it's a process. There's going to be down days. You're going to deal with things in life. You're going to deal with things in your business. There will be days where you're just not feeling it. But at the same time, you start to recognize patterns and how to get yourself back on track, how to build strategies and tools and systems to get yourself back on track. This is probably the first video that I've done where I feel like I'm actually talking about those things now and really talking about what I genuinely want to achieve in my brand and in my business and in my content. Eventually, there probably will be a rebrand to really reflect all of this. I'm not a coach and I will not call myself a coach. I'm more of a creative director, brand strategist. I have a service-based business and a physical product-based business, but I put the product-based business on hold for now because I genuinely feel like this could help people. I am creating digital products like my Trello Life and Business Planner. It gives you the structure without all of the overwhelm. And it really just helps you to manage your small business without sacrificing your self-care. I also have a service called the Brand Review where we work together for about a week. I go over your social media, your website, and I take a look at what's working, what's not working, and then opportunities to help you grow and scale your brand and business. But to grow it and scale it in a way that feels more like you and your content. Your website looks and feels like how you want it to look and feel. Your social media feels cohesive from one platform to another. You're actually talking about the topics and things that you genuinely want to talk about. And you're not just basing everything off trends, and you're really just creating a cohesive brand and business, something that feels memorable and meaningful to you and for your community that you're building. I will leave the Trello Life and Business Planner and the Brand Review linked in the description box, and I'll also probably pin them to the comment section of this video so it'll be easier to find. And if you could please give this video a like, a comment, or subscribe, let me know your thoughts. And I thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video, and I'll talk to you soon.